Hello, super quick intro. Today I'm going to be showing you the solution for the Hanayama Duet puzzle, which means you're going to see the two different routes that you have to take with each half of that donut looking piece to separate it from the shell bit, and then the reverse, those two routes through in reverse to get it back into that original duet puzzle position. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so here is a fully assembled duet puzzle, and obviously our aim is to get these two pieces that is currently one piece. Obviously they are connected by magnets. Our aim is to separate these two half donut pieces from this maze puzzle piece. And we need to take two different routes to do that, because although these two pieces are exactly the same, they are in a different orientation. It's almost like a mirrored or opposite position whilst being in the same bottom right hand corner. Now before we get into the moves, we need to get the orientation right. So we're going to be holding the maze piece in this position the whole time. You can see the duet engraving down on the bottom side. If we flip it over, it is a Hanayama engraving, so there's only one real way to get this right in terms of the orientation. And the next thing we need to do is just decide which one we're going to do first, which one we're going to take about first. And we're going to go with the only piece of the two that can slide over into this position here. And that is the first move. So once you've got the right piece, once you've separated the magnets and slid over this side, we're then going to carry on with this piece. And I'm not going to be describing as we turn it over, because there is only one real way to actually separate this puzzle. So yeah, there's only one way to do it. So rather than me describing, right, now rotate it 180 degrees clockwise, now go anti-clockwise 180 degrees, I'm not going to describe that because it's not necessary. So what we're going to do is we're going to come onto this top right hand corner in this position here, and then we're going to do a big turn over two sides until we end up here. Then we're going to slide off this top right hand corner into this position, and now we're going to cross over into that top right hand corner. Now this is the crossroads point. So we're going to carry on separating this piece, but when it comes to separating this piece, we will get to this exact same position, and we will then follow the routine that we're about to follow from this position to separate both pieces. So from here, we are now going to slide underneath that top middle piece into this position, and we're going to keep that going over one more side. We're then going to cross over into that piece there. We're going to turn over and then slide into the middle left hand side square. And now we've got one big turn over three sides. So we go over one side, two sides, and three sides until we end up here. And then finally, the last two moves to separate this first half donut piece is we slide off that left hand side and then off this left hand bottom corner, and that is the first piece separated. Now we focus back on this, or we focus on the second half donut piece. Now obviously the first half of separating this piece is different to what we've just done, but the second half, once we get into this top right hand corner, is exactly the same. So we're first going to slide off into this position. We're going to turn it over and come on to the puzzle there. We come into the middle square and then into the square below it, and we're then going to turn over and come into that middle right hand square, and then we're going to do one big turn again. So we go over three sides until we end up in this position here. We're then going to turn the puzzle, or turn the donut piece over, come off that side, and now we're at that crossroads point again. So we were in this position with this piece, and we're now going to follow exactly the same moves that we did with this piece to separate this second piece. So we're going to come onto the puzzle in this position, and we're going to go again or over another side into this position. We're going to turn it over and come onto this side in here, and then into this square on the left hand side. We do one big turn over those three sides again, And now we've just got two moves to separate it. So we come off the left hand side first, and then we can slide off that bottom left hand corner, just like we did with that first half donut piece. And that is how you disassemble the duet puzzle. And for reassembling the duet puzzle, it is a case of just reversing the moves that we have just done. However, we need to bear in mind, once we get to that crossroads point in this top right hand corner, we need to first of all know the two different routines in reverse to get back to this position. But we also need to bear in mind, when we're putting the second piece in, which routine we did with the first piece. Because what we don't want to do is end up with two pieces in this position in an orientation where they can't match up and reconnect fully. Now that'll make sense more if you have actually done it wrong, but hopefully following this you won't ever get it wrong. So first of all, we are going to keep the same orientation. The duet engraving is on the bottom side of the puzzle. We're obviously aiming for this curved bottom right hand sort of square. And this is going to stay still. We're just going to be moving the gold half donut pieces around. Now, first of all, we're going to slide on this bottom left hand corner. We're going to flip it over, and then we're going to reconnect in that middle piece just in there. We're then going to do one big turn over three sides until we end up in this position here. We're going to flip it over and come into that middle square. And we're going to flip over again and come into this top right hand square. Then we're going to do a big turn over two sides, and we are already at that crossroads point. So to start with, we're going to do it in the same way that we took it apart. So the piece that came out first is going to be the piece that goes back in first. So for that move, or for that routine, we're going to start by coming over into this position. We then flip it over and come into here. Then we do one big turn over two sides until we end up in the top right hand corner and the middle right hand corner. And then we've just got two moves to do. We come off the top right hand corner, and then we can slide back into this position here. And that is that piece reassembled already. Now, for the second half donut piece, again, we follow the same routine for the first half as we did with this piece. We come on to that bottom left hand corner, we turn it, and we come back into this position. Then we do one big turn over three sides till we end up here. We then do a turn over one side, so we're in this middle position. Then we can come and attach into that top right hand corner in here. Now this is one big turn, but we're going to pause halfway. We slide over two sides, and this is the halfway point, that crossroads point. But we're going to keep that rotation going all the way around to this side over here, where we reconnect in here. Then we do one big turn again over three sides. That's 2 and 3 until we end up in this middle bottom part. We come into the middle square with this piece, and then the bottom left hand square in there, and then turn it over and come into this position. And then the last two moves, first of all we come off the bottom left hand side, and then without it connecting too early, we slide over this bottom side. We reconnect those two half donut pieces into their original almost full donut position, and that is how you reassemble the duet puzzle. So there it is, that is how you disassemble and then reassemble the duet puzzle. The key thing really with this one is it's fairly simple to follow along those two different routes. When you're putting it back together though, it is key that you identify the point at which you can go the two different directions. And the key point is making sure that you remember which way you went first to get the first one back in position, to then do the opposite way for the second one, so that you don't then end up with two pieces in the same orientation which can't then stick back together. Now hopefully this has helped you solve the duet puzzle for yourself. If you want to see me struggle through the duet or any of these other Hanayama puzzles and then the step-by-step solutions to each and every one of them, then make sure you click my face here to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace!